Sukuna is feared as the greatest sorcerer in history. He has an overwhelming amount of cursed energy and incredible control over it. Even with a fraction of his power, Sukuna is able to effortlessly defeat powerful cursed spirits and elite sorcerers. His strength, speed, reflexes, and durability are off the charts. He is a master in hand-to-hand combat and has a tactical mind that makes him a formidable opponent. Sukuna's incarnation ability allows him to possess bodies and then use them to their fullest potential, making him a terrifying presence in battle. Saitama, on the other hand, is the embodiment of over-the-top strength. He can defeat any opponent with a single punch, and his strength isn't limited to just his punches. Saitama's speed and reflexes are unmatched, allowing him to dodge and counterattack effortlessly. He can leap incredible distances, create shockwaves with his punches, and even survive in the vacuum of space. His durability is such that no attack seems to face him. Saitama's strength is so absurd that he would be considered a walking, talking cheat code in the world of heroes. And we're talking about what if Sukuna, with all his cursed energy and martial prowess, would face off against Saitama. That would be pure madness. But before we dive in, I've got to share a little secret with you. I know how to summon cursed energies in the real world. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Just say Anime Geek 3 times and subscribe to the channel right now. If you don't, I might just unleash the Queen of Curses, Rika, on you. Alright, let's get back to the video. Sukuna would unleash his devastating attacks, his cursed energy crackling with malevolence. His speed and reflexes would allow him to land a few hits on Saitama, but Saitama would just stand there, unfazed with his signature bored expression. Saitama would decide to test Sukuna's strength and throw a casual punch. The shockwave from his punch alone would send Sukuna flying, but the King of Curses would quickly regain his footing, a grin spreading across his face. He would realize he's up against something truly extraordinary. Sukuna's attacks would grow more intense, and he would start using his full arsenal of cursed techniques. However, no matter how powerful the attack, Saitama would remain unscathed. He would even start dodging Sukuna's moves effortlessly, his speed making him a blur. Sukuna would try to trap Saitama with his immense tactical intellect, but Saitama's unpredictability and sheer power would make it impossible. But then, Sukuna would probably channel all of his cursed energy into one massive attack. The ground would tremble, the sky would darken, and it would seem like the end of the world. But Saitama, with a look of mild annoyance, would throw a normal punch on Sukuna's face. The collision of their powers would create a shockwave that parts the clouds and shakes the earth. Sukuna would be left battered and defeated. Saitama, barely breaking a sweat, would scratch his head and wonder if there's anyone out there who can give him a real challenge. But we're talking about Ryomen Sukuna. He is just playing around, it's not even his warm-up. The King of Curses has some truly terrifying. For starters, he can sprout extra eyes and mouths on his host. With his unique body structure, Sukuna boasts 4 arms and 2 mouths. He's like a walking Swiss Army knife, able to perform complex hand signs while still sipping on his cursed energy. His control over cursed energy is unmatched. Sukuna has enough cursed energy to power a small city, or at least blow one up. He handles it with the precision of a master chef, making him a nightmare in a fight. Then there's his Black Flash technique, which amplifies a hit's power by 2.5 times. When in his domain, Sukuna can turn particles into deadly explosives with his Divine Flame technique. Think of it as turning the air you breathe into a fiery death trap. His main attack, Shrine, involves cutting through anything with slashes and flames, making him basically a blender set to apocalypse. On the other hand, the Caped Baldy is equally as impressive in his own right. Saitama is so fast that he leaves after images. His superhuman dexterity and agility give him reflexes that would make a cat jealous. He can dodge attacks and move through tight spaces with ease. Forget swimming, Saitama can run on water like he's out for a jog on the beach. He never gets tired, ever. He's the marathon runner of superheroes, just without the sweat. His superhuman eyesight allows him to see things happening on Earth from the moon, like he's got built-in binoculars. Nothing hurts Saitama. Punches, blasts, or even gamma-ray bursts, it's just another day at the office for him. Fire, ice, nuclear explosions, you name it, Saitama can chill in it like he's at the spa. Even powerful psychics can't budge him. So when you put Sukuna and Saitama head to head, you have Sukuna's cunning and cursed energy against Saitama's raw, unparalleled power. So after the serious punch, Sukuna would smile and start the real action. Sukuna, with his extra eyes and mouths, would be ready to unleash his curses, while Saitama, as usual, would look a bit bored, wondering if this fight would finally be the one to excite him. As Sukuna initiates the battle, he would create new eyes and mouths on his host's body, allowing him to see and taunt Saitama from multiple angles. Saitama, unfazed, would simply raise an eyebrow, wondering what the fuss is about. Sukuna would then use his unique body structure to his advantage, performing complex hand signs while keeping 2 hands free for direct combat. He would launch his attacks with precision, but Saitama would effortlessly dodge, leaving after images in his wake. It would look like Saitama is everywhere at once, frustrating Sukuna. Seeing that his initial attacks were ineffective, Sukuna would tap into his immense reserves of cursed energy. The air around them would crackle with power as Sukuna uses Black Flash, amplifying his hits to devastating levels. Each punch would create shockwaves, but Saitama would evade every strike, making it almost seem too easy. Then Sukuna would unleash his Divine Flame, turning the battlefield into an inferno. Flames would torch the ground, and the heat would be intense enough to melt steel. Yet, Saitama would stand in the middle of it, yawning and scratching his head. The extreme temperature wouldn't bother him in the slightest, he'd treat it like a mild inconvenience. Realizing that direct attacks aren't working, Sukuna would employ his strategic mind. He would create binding vows to trap Saitama, setting up complex curses and traps. Saitama, though, would simply power through them, his invulnerability rendering Sukuna's efforts futile. In a desperate move, Sukuna would use his curse technique, Shrine, launching slashes and flames at Saitama. These attacks would cut through the air with deadly precision, but Saitama would meet them head-on. Each slash that should tear through mountains would hit Saitama without leaving a scratch. Throughout the fight, Sukuna's mastery of cursed energy and his ability to manipulate it seamlessly would shine. He would shift tactics, trying to find a weakness in Saitama. But Saitama's sheer power and durability would be unmatched. His ability to withstand any attack, coupled with his unending stamina, would make him an unmovable object in Sukuna's path. However, Sukuna's strategic cunning would give him a slight upper hand. He would create complex scenarios, forcing Saitama to think rather than just rely on brute strength. In these moments, Sukuna's centuries of experience and his versatile abilities would shine, creating moments of genuine challenge for Saitama. But Saitama's got that whole limitless growth thing going on. He could probably bench press the moon just to prove a point. And then there's his knack for mimicking and improving techniques. But here's where it gets interesting. Sukuna's not just bringing knives to this gunfight. He's packing a whole zoo of Shikigami, electric owls, water-spouting elephants, and a gang of strategic rabbits. It's like he raided a mythical creature convention and brought back souvenirs. Sure, Saitama might dodge, block, and even quip a little as Sukuna throws everything, including the kitchen sink, probably, at him. But Sukuna's cursed energy and tactical Shikigami swarm might just overwhelm our bored hero. After all, even Saitama needs more than just one punch to deal with a buffet of supernatural chaos. So, Sukuna might just tip the scales. Not because he's inherently stronger, but because variety is the spice of supernatural life, and Sukuna's got more tricks up his sleeve. Sukuna, with his reversed curse technique and domain expansion, corners Saitama, the One-Punch Man himself. His reverse curse technique lets him heal in the blink of an eye and even mess with curse techniques at a soul level. So, Sukuna might start with his malevolent shrine, slashing everything in sight with his cursed energy. But then, here comes Saitama, casually flipping tables and headbutting his way through. He might even try his consecutive normal punches, each one capable of obliterating mountains. In a straight-up punch-for-punch battle, Saitama's raw power is unmatched. But Sukuna's no slouch either. His domain expansion could throw Saitama off guard, disrupting his attacks and giving Sukuna a chance to land some serious blows. If we're playing favorites, Sukuna's finesse with curse techniques and domain control might just edge out Saitama's brute force. Plus, Sukuna's got that eerie aura with his malevolent shrine. You can't underestimate a shrine full of skulls. But Saitama's serious punch can literally part clouds globally and has enough power to shake the planet. Not to mention, his serious table flip can tear apart moons and serious sneeze that messes up planets in its path. So, Sukuna might try to trap Saitama in his malevolent shrine, thinking he's got the upper hand with his cursed energy. But then, Saitama could just shrug it off and deliver the most powerful, serious punch of all time that sends shockwaves through Sukuna's plans and maybe even the universe. Imagine the collision of their powers, Sukuna's cursed energy meeting Saitama's overwhelming strength. It would be like a cosmic showdown between mysticism and pure brute force. In the end, as much as Sukuna's got style with his domains and cursed techniques, Saitama's unmatched power and nonchalant attitude would probably tip the scales. One serious punch could likely shatter Sukuna's best laid plans and leave him wondering if he should have brought more than just his curses to the fight. So, if you're betting on who'd come out on top in this clash, Saitama might just casually punch his way through, leaving Sukuna to contemplate the power of a bald hero who's just in it for the thrill of a good fight.